Well, precipice is a demand. I use the word precipice for this, precipice for that. I'm even known in the courtroom as the guy that uses the word precipice. As soon as I went in one day, the clerk, oh, you're the fellow that likes to use precipice. But I use it as demand for this, demand for that. And precipice and demand are synonymous in my mind. Now, you said, if I understood you correctly, Carl, you said ask for pre, that was the word I wasn't sure of, pre-precipice?
No. Just you want a precipice a hearing. It's just a hearing. It's like I said, or you could say pre-trial hearing. Like right, you kind of demanded. What it is you don't want to go in front of a jury, and I think Dean Clifford also explains it a little bit. Probably I try to make it extremely simple. He does simple, but I think I'm super simple. But all it basically is you want to get 99% of the nonsense taken care of. That when you go before the jury trial, the judge will love you too. He'll be like, oh great, let's get rid of all this nonsense. Let's see if we could slug it out before we go in front of the jury. Let's get all the nonsense out. What do you guys seem that? What's the matter in controversy? You know, how many controversies do you have? And to me, I'd say to them, well, I got 22 matters in controversy. And they're like, wow. It's like, yeah, we got his suit. You know what? We'll agree to 18 of them, but these 3 things we are not going to give in. We're going to fight tooth and nail to the bitter end. It's like, okay, and the judge will say, you know, do you want to give up, Carl? Do you want to just take the 18, or do you have to have all 22 to be happy? And it's like, no, you know what? What are you going to offer me? You know, how are we going to end this thing? And the judge, believe me, he's taking notes of like how you people are conducting yourselves in these preliminary trials, hearings. Like if you're reasonable, or if you're some psycho Montana Freeman kind of stuff, that you know, the judge is taking notes, and he's going to remember now when you go to trial how you conducted yourself in private. And he's going to be like, well, Carl was a decent, honorable man. He tried to settle the matter on a private side, and he gave, you know, that's about as far as I'd give too. The judge said, you know what, I'm going to let Carl have a little leeway here with the jury. So that's why you want a precipice day. That way you get to meet the judge, you get to meet the other side face to face, you get to shake hands, you get to put on a happy face and pretend
Carl,
everything. Yeah.
What does that mean on the private side? You tried to settle it on the private side. For those that don't know.
That's the very last shot at trying to settle the matters in good faith, that you're just trying to say, look, I'm just trying to work on an agreement with my brother. Even though he's a state prosecutor, I'm just trying it this is my last attempt before we go in front of the judge.
Okay, but are you doing it up by letter? Are you taking them off to the side by the arm and saying, look, let's settle this? I mean, how does one go about settling on the private side?
Like I said,
it's pre-formal litigation, I think would be the answer to that.
Yeah, it's like, say you know you're going to trial in 30 days. You'll say, can we please have one more final meeting between all the parties and the judge in his chambers? Can we just try to slug this out one more time? And the person who says no is acting in bad faith. You have to try to make every settlement before you go in front of the jury, because people don't realize this. Because there was somebody was on a Mark Stevens show, and he said the guy was convicted of in tax court. I said, no, he wasn't convicted. He was attainted. And he was like, no, he's a convict now. I said, no, he's attainted now. It's worse than a convict, because most people don't know what a convict is. And then one guy said to me, he's like, oh, is that what they did on all the old Perry Mason shows? The guy will jump up and confess at the end? Yes, because if you confess, you're a convict, and you still hold all your rights as a man, and the public and society, you still maintain your rights. If a jury comes down with a guilty verdict against you, you are now attainted. You lose all your rights to property, all your rights to citizens. Your children lose their rights to titles. I said it's an old custom. I said now we walked away from it, you know. But if you watch the old Perry Mason movies in the 1950s, people still knew to jump up and yell, "Okay, I'm guilty, I'm guilty, I'm guilty." It's like, is that why they were doing that on the old Perry Mason show? I thought the people just cracked under pressure. It's like, no, they didn't want to be attainted by the jury. They wanted to just say, okay, I confess, I'm a convict, convict me. Get me out of here. Don't attaint me. So like, oh, is that what? I said, that's what was going on in the Perry Mason TV shows. It's like, oh, we didn't know that. We just thought the people were broke, that Perry Mason just scrambled their brains and they gave up. It's like, no. That's what it means. And like I said, precipice is...
Okay, but what I mean is you're not going to address the situation as being on the private side. You're not going to use that terminology. Being on the private side means just trying to go to peace with your brother before you go to court with him, right?
Right. Yeah, it's a pre-court thing. It's like, let's meet out in the hallway kind of thing, but you're really meeting in the judge's chambers 2 weeks before the trial. So at least the judge gets a test of your mettle. He sees how sharp you are. He sees if you're smart. He sees if you're, he gets to test you out. You're in his chambers now. And you guys are slugging it out between the opposing party, and you just play a poker face. You stay calm and cool. And like I love doing this to the judges. And then when they start realizing I know more than they do, they go, I'm going to have to recuse myself from this case. I love when they do that to me. It's like, no, you're good. I like you. It's like, no, I know the other party. I'm going to have to leave. When I start taking over the precipice day or the pre-hearing trial, when I start taking it over, the judge is like, holy cow, this guy knows his, and I'm out of here. But I hope that helps you, sir. But like I said, always get a preliminary hearing date set a couple of weeks before the trial. The judge gets to test you out. Don't cop an attitude. Be as pleasant and sweet as pie. So the judge says, okay, this guy knows his stuff. But you better make sure you know what you're doing, because they're going to put the best in against you. So you better know how to talk.